Yo, what's up, guys? I want to show you how I went from around almost break even to pulling in larger winners and smaller losses. This is the start of September where I'm at, and this is previously for this account. Now, all my other accounts, if you watch my videos, they were pretty much red day, red day, red day, and then just eventually blow up the account, funneling money out of my bank account into these prop firm websites and trying to lock in, so to say. So how do I go about this, right? First on the list is I cannot trade around the first hour or 30 minutes. I changed it to the first 30 minutes because one of these recent days I saw the perfect setup and I said I'm not going to miss this, but I did set it to the first hour. So I'm in California. This means at 7:30 a.m. after IB is the initial balance is settled, that's when I can start trading. But 30 minutes seems okay. This is around 30 minutes of activity at the beginning of the day. And what this has done has stopped me from rushing in, waking up very early in the morning and being hazy and foggy inside of my head, too tired to clearly outline where I want to enter and what I want to look for, right? So the very first thing for me is how much I'm feeling at the beginning of the day. I used to rush myself, and eventually all I really did was rush myself into ruin. Hitting my DLL within the first hour and feeling like shit, carrying that on to hoping the next day and waiting all day for the next day to hop in. Way too much stress, way too much. So I set that first hour initially. I changed it to 30 minutes. I may change it to an hour back, depending how it goes. So you guys cannot see this, but on my computer, I'm using a laptop, on my computer where my mouse is outlining, I have a sticky note on my screen, which really does well to block all of this right here. And so I cannot, buy market, buy bid without paying attention to this note. And so I will just quickly go over the notes that I have on this sticky pad to reassure myself, are we in a good structural spot? What are we looking for execution wise? And are you sure you want to enter this trade? It's a good addition to pause before I get trigger happy and think it's a good spot, right? So I'll sit a little bit longer and then I'll think of all the things that I'm thinking through, right? Like I'll think, okay, I want to wait for this LVN to press into this LVN. Okay, we got some overnight low stat hit. I want to see more delta absorption because I would have been trigger happy around here. I might get trigger happy when this retests that overnight low, but I'm like, no, let me check and wait for the delta, or let me wait for a node to build, price to push up, test from above, get that DOM flip, and then I enter on my position, right? So that sticky note is an additional pause to make sure I'm where I want to be. The third thing is having structure and execution. So before, sure, I had these new tools that I got on my Sierra charts, and I'm thinking, wow, this is a cheat code. I can see what's in the market. Like a lot of red means absorption, so you can buy, this Delta Map Extreme. There's heavy sellers. Once they get exhausted, cool, this is a good time to buy. But I'm also doing it blindly. Like the tools you have, the indicators you have, they don't mean shit without a structural reference, right? And what do I mean by structural reference? This is either like a higher time frame structure, whether that is MGI, as in market generated information, or that is support resistance, or a higher time frame volume profile build, right? So this is on my sticky note. I have structural plus execution. So I'm waiting for the structure. I'm waiting for price to look like a magnet to this LVN that's within this price point. And then I want to look at my execution tools, which is my delta profile, my DOM flip, some other stuff. But those are pretty much only two I really use for execution. And then once I see that, that's when I'm like, oh, okay, here's my delta profile, boom. That's my executional trigger. And then I'll set my profits accordingly. So having this reminder of basing your entries off of structure and then waiting for the executional trigger. The next thing on the list is 3 strikes. So if I base my 3 strikes whether it was a good entry. This right here to me is a good entry. I feel good about this. I'm on the right side of the V. I'm pretty close to where my risk is going to be set. So my stop loss isn't going to be too wide. I'm not risking too much. And I'm sorry, let me check this again. So this just lets me know, okay, mentally I'm wired, right? I'm primed. I'm looking at the markets. I'm reading it how I should be to be in the market. Now, if I don't have execution like this, let's say, I have to lift this sticky note a little bit down. Let's say I'm not reading it well. What does that look like? Well, I would be like right here and I'll hit sell, right? Just because it hit opening range mid. Sure, that's an important piece of MGI, but I did not look at this. You can see a price building outside and around my entry. And if I have a bad entry, even if it goes my direction, so even though price went in my direction, this is still a bad entry. I'd much prefer to enter right here before that point of acceleration, or when we have pulled back into this delta profile. So I have my triggers, I have my reasoning to enter in this trade, but if I'm not enacting based off of that and I'm making trades like this, even if it's a winning trade, that's still an X on my list, right? So 3 strikes, I'm out. As a matter of fact, yesterday, Friday, I had 2 losses, the 12th. I had two contracts each. So like this one is like a 2 bracket, 2 TPs and 1 contract each TP, 2 contracts of I don't know how you would want to say that, but and both of them hit their stop loss. And I was like, you know what? I'm just not reading the market right. I'm not feeling confident in where I'm going. I would much rather stop right here as opposed to digging myself in a deeper hole. I'd much rather have a $60 loss day and to come back the next day and be more refreshed than to hit tilt and then run into a larger red day. This is so much easier to dig yourself out of. That is one trade. Literally one of these trades, if worked well, would clear that up. You know, one trade will pay for 3, you know. So, but I understand mentally I'm not reading the market right, so I'm going to take a step away and call it a day. Adding on to that, just before I get to the next point, set a DLL, a daily loss limit. This can be done through your Rithmic. You go to your Rithmic, and then you go to your account, right-click it. You go to risk parameters set by the trader, enable auto liquidation, and then you go to the method for auto liquidation, and that would be loss limit, and you can set the dollar amount for loss limit. Right now I have mine set at 250, so if I hit 250, it locks me out for the day. I can't. Why 250? 250 is a reasonable place for me because the next rule I have, but basically that's 1 day's worth of winning, so it's only going to send me back 1 day as opposed to going full tilt and then having to recover from a massive hole that you dug yourself. You only took yourself 1 day back in progress. The second point is going to be starting off with a smaller size. My full conviction for like my full size, what I say for myself is 5 cons. I will throw 5 contracts for 2 targets, and that would be my, like, this is a great setup like I did right here, and I want to get paid, and I'm willing to risk that much. That's how much confidence I have. But I will start the day off with 2 contracts as opposed to 5 to build up a buffer to gauge as well where I'm at mentally. So if I jumped in the day starting, I don't really know where I'm at mentally yet until I execute a lot of times. So I will start off with a smaller size, and based on how that goes, I will add on to that position. So if I had entered long right here with 2 contracts, It's like my first trade of the day, goes in my direction. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm expecting a pullback, a higher low. I'll add on 2 more cons or 3 cons to that higher low. That would then become that full size contract or trade, I guess, full risk. And then I would TP accordingly, you know. But because I start at 2 cons, I can I can enable myself to take a loss, to not get hit mentally harder. Because if I take a, let me go ahead and do 5 cons. If I take a 5K loss, then at like, or 5 con loss at like 10 points, let's say, I am going to feel that. So that's like negative $100 right there. So that's pretty tough. That hurts, you know. That hurts my stomach even though it's a sim. To protect myself against that, I start off a smaller size. Gauge how you feel. One of the notes on my sticky note as well is pause. Take a moment to breathe. When you're not sure, you don't have to execute. Walk away. Go for a walk. Go for a smoke break. Go make some breakfast. Go engage in something else, right? Wait for price to approach your structural reference on a higher time frame, and then you can zoom in on that and then see and based off of that. But if you're unsure, right, then walk away. One point when I was doing this replay, I noticed that happened was around here. For me, when I'm unsure, it's this point, is when price is consolidating very tight and for a long period of time and it's moving too slow. I can't. I even though if this were a quicker move, directionally I'd be like, okay, this is consolidation, we got absorption on this side, I'm expecting to go in a reverse or whatever. If that were the case, I would have more confidence if it was a faster move. But because it's not, it's almost as if every time we approach back up, I get anxious. I think about getting stopped out. That doesn't sit with me. So I pause. When I'm unsure, I walk away. I got to know when not to trade, because when you know when not to, you don't end in a position like this, a 0% win rate, and you're at a $200 loss. A 0% win rate. You're not sure. Walk away. Get out of there. Last point, adding on to the initial starters, where I start off with 2 cons and then I'll add into a position, I make sure I'm getting my base hits. That's one thing I repeated over and over in the videos that I used to make, where it was like, just do your base hits, do rotations and whatnot. I'm trying to remind myself to pay yourself. You know, you bought a ticket, get paid for it. Whether you set a take profit non-negotiable for 10 points in Q or 20 points in Q, no matter what happens, it takes off a partial of your contract size, or whether that's based on location of nearby MGI, or whether that's nearby support or resistance that's counter to your movement. You could totally do that. That's what I do. Like if I were in this position right here, I would be targeting these highs right here, this point of initiation, or right here around this resistance. But this also depends what's happening in that move as well. Since I see some buying extreme, I will push up my target a little bit higher, but also be quick to take it off if I see some consolidation or wicking on the top and then price moving down. I'll take it off right here. You know, I'll call it a day, right? But make sure you're getting your base hits, you know. So a lot of people want to make these massive moves. I want to buy the bottom and I want to ride it all the way to the top. You don't. You really freaking don't. To buy this bottom and then to sell that top, that means you bought here and then you sold here. You wouldn't do that. Sell some here, add on a little bit here, sell some potentially here, and then maybe you sell a runner here, or maybe you're still holding it. You don't want to do that. Too much psychological warfare that I have to go through to gauge whether I want to hold on a position. No. If I see there's some absorption happening counter to my move, my trade, I'm going to take some off at a reasonable point. I'm going to make sure I get paid, right? If I'm going to take on that extra risk and be like, well, I would ideally, right? There's no ideals in this game. There is what it is. But if there is an ideal, like, oh, I'm ultimately targeting a lot higher, we've been in this massive trend up, or whatever, then I will use that for my runner. A position I don't even care about, but I'll still trail that stop, I'll still trail my stop loss 2 LVNs behind. So make sure you're paying yourself out, because these small hits, right? Even though this is a negative $66 day, I can move on two contracts. I don't even know where the price is going to go. I'm just putting something random on. But from here to here, I think that's about 20 points. Like for two cons, that's $80. So if I had, let's say I bought there, had a wide stop loss, and I take profit right here, that's $80, bro. Like, that's a good amount of money, Like, it's not like a crazy, oh, I made $20,000 today, but at the same time, your base hits are going to pay you out. Take them. Boom, right there. That was like $30-$40, Oh, it gets stopped out. Oh no, we're going up. Whatever, I made money. Doesn't fucking matter. Now, what I'm worried about is, am I in this game reading this market correctly? Because the better I read this, the better I engage in this market based off on how I read it, the more I get paid. I think I shifted my I was forced to shift my mentality because I'm in a pretty tight spot, if I'm being honest. Like, it's this account or not. That's basically where I'm at. This either works or it doesn't. So I need to do everything in place to make this work. Meaning, I need to sit with myself when I'm taking a loss, take accountability, and say, I'm not in the right mindset to trade this market where it's at right now. I'm not reading it right. I didn't sleep, whatever it may be. I need to take responsibility for myself to not fuck this up. I will gladly accept $100 loss over a $200 loss. You know what? I did my best. Whatever. Maybe tomorrow. You need to read this. The saving grace about this is, in the prop firm game, is you can just do base hits. You can consistently make money and make payouts with one account. You just scale that up. You don't need to hit for larger moves to make more money. You can just get another account. You can just get a larger size account that is able to risk more. I have a 50K. When I get 5 of these, or whatever the limit is on Lucid, when I get the max amount on these and I'm getting paid out consistently, I'm going to start trading them one by one for the largest account size that Lucid has, which I think is 150K. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the same exact trades, the same exact amount of point extraction, the same expectations, the same everything. I'm just going to risk more, and I'll get paid more. That's it. That's the crazy thing. That's what my mentor was trying to tell me. It was like, bro, just get your base hits. Just make sure you pay yourself. You don't even have to do anything crazy. One of his friends does ES, and he just gets his 10 points, he walks away. Doesn't matter what the heck else happens. If it ran up 130 points one direction on ES, he does not care. He got his 10 points, and he walked away. Because if you size up enough to get 10 points, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So that's how I've been a lot more consistent as of these 2 weeks. I'm very much looking forward to maintaining the same discipline that I've been having and ensuring that I will get this fucking payout. I will get this money. And if I can continue whatever I'm doing here in these 2 weeks, then I can do good. Then that will give me a payout. And I'll get one by the end of this month. Not payout, I'll pass the account. But that is the goal. That's the dream. I just got to be consistent in my process and managing. But what's gotten me to where I'm at right now is that. And I just put a sticky note. It's annoying ass sticky note. It's always in the way. It's everything I do. Like if I'm on Safari, like it's always around the X. And if it's dark, I could turn up my screen brightness. But if it's bright out, I cannot see. I'm like, where's my cursor right now? You know? But it's helped me out a lot. I'm a beginner. I'm a noob. I need this constant reminder before I'm consistent enough to just rely on myself. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I don't want to hold you guys too long. I see you guys next week, and we're killing it next week. I will probably post a couple more videos. I'm a little bit tired of posting like daily trade recaps. I don't feel like they're as informative as they could be. But if I have like a baller setup and I'm really proud of that I executed on, I'm totally going to share that and in like my thought process and whatnot and how it looks intraday. But outside of that, like I'm just tired. Like I'm staring at a computer screen for hours. I'm mentally exhausted. And then to throw on like a YouTube video, it's like, like if I'm not adding anything important, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I noticed the quality of the videos is just down. It's like, yeah, I took this trade, I took this trade, I took this trade. It's like, that doesn't help anyone. That doesn't help anything. It's just a little journal, you know? So that's really it. I'll see you guys next week. Peace, peace.